In 264 BC, the Roman Republic was expanding and expanding fast. In just 74 years, the city-state that was Rome had expanded across the entire Italian peninsula, subjugating most of the people in the peninsula with brutal determination. With their territory growing exponentially, they soon began to rival the other great Mediterranean power, Carthage. Carthage had its roots as a former Phoenician colony in what is today Tunisia. Due to their ideal location, they became a prosperous trading hub and used their wealth to build a massive maritime empire, whose territory included southern Spain, large swaths of North Africa, much of Sicily, and other islands. With the Roman Republic pushing its borders toward Sicily, conflict was about to explode. What followed was a brutal war of survival between the two great empires. The two sides engaged each other in massive battles that would see hundreds of thousands of men struggle to kill each other. In 256 BC, the Romans would launch a massive naval force towards North Africa to invade their enemy. Carthage would meet this force in the Mediterranean Ocean and would commence a battle so large that if you count the number of people who fought in this battle, it may have been the largest naval battle in history. The Battle of Cape Ecnomus would see approximately 300,000 people on board almost 700 ships ram, board, and slaughter each other for hours. By the end of the day, upwards of 50,000 people would be lost to the depths of the ocean. After 23 years of conflict, the Roman Republic finally wrested control of Sicily away from Carthage. For another 23 years, the Carthaginians stewed in their defeat. They watched as Rome consolidated their rule in Sicily and proceeded to bathe in the glory of their victory over the once mighty Carthaginian Empire. Carthage worked for years to rebuild their economy and forces. Meanwhile, a Carthaginian named Hamilcar Barca planned his own revenge against the Republic that had just humiliated his people. He was so disgusted with the Romans that he forced his son Hannibal to make a blood oath to always be an enemy to the Romans and to fight them when and wherever he could. Young Hannibal was born to kill Romans, and as the Romans would soon learn, he was good at it too. In 221 BC, at 26 years old, Hannibal Barca would become the general of a large Carthaginian army. He wasted no time and soon attacked and besieged the city of Saguntum. According to the Roman historian Livy, Hannibal soon displayed his cruelty. Quote, "A tower, long battered, had fallen down, and when the Carthaginian cohort, rushing through the breach, had made a signal to the general that the city was destitute of the usual outposts and guards, Hannibal, thinking that there ought to be no delay at such an opportunity, having attacked the city with his whole forces, took in a moment, command being given that all the adults should be put to death." End quote. In response to Hannibal's sacking of Saguntum, Rome declared war on Carthage in 218 BC. Once again, the two powers were at war, but this time would be different. Unlike the last war, Rome would not be so dominant on land as they had been 23 years earlier. This time, Carthage had Hannibal. That same year, Hannibal demonstrated his determination and brilliance when he took this army of 40,000 men and several elephants across the Alps. The Romans were completely caught off guard by this move. Only a madman would try to cross an entire army over the mountains, but Hannibal did, and the Romans were face to face with a man who had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. After slaughtering Roman legion after Roman legion, the Romans grew desperate to stop Hannibal. They appointed a man named, and I am surely mispronouncing his name, Quintus Fabius Maximus Verrucosus as dictator, with his number one objective of destroying Hannibal. Verrucosus immediately amassed an army of 80,000 troops and 6,000 cavalry, and had them meet Hannibal near a small village called Cannae. Hannibal arranged his army where it would be weak in the center, but strong on the flanks. He did this in preparation for the Roman tactic of using their legions to break the center of his line. He wanted the Romans to funnel into the center of his army so he could slowly surround the entire Roman army, and it worked. As the Romans pushed forward, they soon realized that Hannibal's forces were on all sides. Before they could react, Hannibal had his cavalry still off the Romans' only exit, and the Romans found themselves surrounded by swinging swords and spears. What followed was a massacre that the Romans and much of the world had never seen before. The Romans, being pushed by all sides by Hannibal's forces, were packed so tight that many in the center of the pack were completely unable to move and were forced to wait hours until it was finally their turn to be hacked to death by the Carthaginians. According to Livy, quote, "Others were found with their heads buried in holes dug in the ground. They had apparently made these pits for themselves, and heaping the dirt over their faces, shut off their breath." End quote. By the end of the day, Hannibal had conducted the slaughtering of approximately 70,000 men. The Roman Republic was stunned by Cannae. They scrambled for answers, and Hannibal believed they would surrender. But, as the Romans would soon be famous for, they refused to give up. They had lost so much of their manpower, and yet, through sheer anger and tenacity, they lowered the recruitment age and offered slaves their freedom in return for their enlistment. They soon built a legion, then another, and then another. Soon, they had amassed enough men to finally end the war by launching an invasion of Carthage itself. In 202 BC, Hannibal finally met his match in the Roman general Scipio Africanus, who finally managed to defeat Hannibal and ended the Second Punic War. Through 62 years of fighting, Carthage was in shambles. They were left with their capital city and not much else. Finally, in 146 BC, Rome launched a final invasion of Carthage and slaughtered the population, sold the survivors into slavery, and destroyed the city. Rome was unquestionably the master of the Mediterranean world.